Hello and welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, says it right down there at the bottom of the screen, and I hope you've all had a cracking week. I've not been in the studio at all, but that's nothing new lately, is it, for me? That's just one of those things. I don't really get to paint an awful lot at the moment, but absolutely stoked to be back in the studio this week. As always, looking forward to painting my minis today. If you're new here to Easy 8 Online Painting Club, it's not a tutorial by any stretch of the imagination. It's literally just a social club where you can come out and hang out with your friends, make new friends, say hi to these guys that are waiting over there in the live chat, and get chatting if you want to. Bring along your projects, let us know what it is that you're painting, because I would love to know what it is that you're up to today. We're not just here on YouTube, we're also on Facebook. Yeah, pointed in the right direction. We're also on Instagram, and we are also on Discord, so you can join us if you like at the end of the show and join us over at the Easy 8 After Party on Discord. All of those places, all of those platforms have a little link just down there in the description of the video, so if you want to come and join us at the end of the show or want to see us on any of the other platforms, just click on one of those little links and over you go. We got some people already chatting over there in the live chat. We've got Chris, we've got Jeff, and we've got Kez, and we've got Out of This World Models Minis at work, but I hope you have a great show. Thanks very much, John. That's John over there in the States. Always got a little bit of time to come over and say hi. Thanks very much, man. Cheers, appreciate that. And I can see that there's some stuff going down in the live chat already. Kez is saying that she spent some time earlier on cleaning, was trying to get some paint out of a dropper bottle, did not realise it was blocked, and it exploded all over my desk and over me. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Sorry. Always have a kitchen towel. This one's seen better days, but I use it for cleaning my brushes off on. And if you're going to try and clean a bottle, just put it over the top. But I suppose if you didn't know, you didn't know. Yeah. As you squeeze it, they just go everywhere. Yeah, man, that sucks. Sorry. Hopefully it hasn't gone on your clothes, because if it has, that ain't coming out. That's acrylic paint for it, or any paint really. I don't think really ever comes out, does it? Anyway, yeah, cool. So this week I'm going to be carrying on with my Trygon from my Tyranids collection. It's definitely takes the mini out of miniature. She's a big old beast. And last week I was just kind of playing around with not schemes, but different ways of getting the paint down, trying to get those effects that I really like. And it took me a long time to get this this one little piece done, and I think at the end I kind of ruined it while I was experimenting, but what it did do was it showed me what it is that I want to do and how I want to achieve it, which is great. So I'm hoping today that I'm just going to shut up a little bit and just kind of try and crack on. I have been experiencing some more difficulties with my camera, so I'm hoping that they're not going to happen today. This one here overhead, I always run a little test just before we get started, and it was working like it always does, and then it does weird things like it seems to do a lot lately. So I'm just going to kind of get stuck in and crack on and see what happens. Before we get started though, if you do like what we do here, don't forget to like and subscribe to the show, because every little bit really helps me kind of grow this show and make it something more. And that's cool, because I like doing this. It's great fun. It really untaps my hobby. I really get a lot out of it, and it kind of gives me the focus to to at least get in the studio at least once a week. I like to get in here more, but it doesn't always happen that way. So yeah, do subscribe, share the word. 46 subscribers. Let's see if we can get 47. That would be great. Or 1,047. That'd be wonderful. Chris says, R.I.P. to you, Kess. Yeah, sorry, dude. I'm just playing around with some watercolours today. That's wicked. I'd love to see what it is that you're doing. If you do want to show us what you're doing, you can just kind of join in at the end of the show over at Discord, or you can stick a picture up over at the Facebook page, which is great. Please do that. I'd love seeing what you guys do. Anyway, fingers crossed. Here we go. We're going to go to the workbench. Come on, camera. Don't disappoint me. It's showing an image, but is it a live image? It's a live image. Yes, the cameras are working. So, here is the Trygon. I think we called her, the community, you guys, I think called her Susan. I think that's a great name for a Trygon. Anyway, what I did last week was I sprayed some black paint in underneath all the panels of the carapace here, and then I started playing with different grades of grey. So I've actually got 3 different grades in here, with the kind of effect of streaking to kind of get those lines in there, if you can see, to kind of blend them in a little bit, just to make the contrast just a little less poppy. I put a really thin wash of medium and one of the grey colours down on top. It really worked, but I didn't do a very good job of it, so I do have to go and neaten that up. So what I'm going to try and do is just one grey at a time, rather than working on one panel with all the greys at a time. I'm going to work on one grey at a time. So I'm going to start with a darker grey, 1, 2, 3 different colours of grey, and I'm just going to literally get all these colours in. If that goes really quickly, I might move down here a little bit, but as you can see, I haven't actually got all of the black onto all of these different things here. As I get further down, it's going to get more and more difficult to put that black in, so I'm contemplating using a brush. It shouldn't be any more difficult. It's the reason I use an airbrush mostly is because it's quicker, but I think my brush is coming to the end of its life, or at least the needle is, so it is starting to block a lot and is causing a lot of issues. As it starts to block, it means I've got to clean it more regularly, which obviously adds more time on. And I also start getting these big spits coming out. Like the big, here's a good example right there, where I just kind of blast everything out in one go, and you get a lot of spider legging. That's not cool. That's not what I want. So I might just do all this bit by brush. It may take me a while, but I think that all in all, I think it probably will be quicker. One of the things I was doing last week, one of the reasons I was playing with the black with the airbrush was playing with black in, where is it? Here it is. The black, just the standard paint. In the past, I've had a lot of success with Ash Black Shader from MIG Ammo, which is specifically formulated for airbrush use. It's very, very intense, but it stays wet for a while, which means that you can blend it. And I thought, well, if I'm using black ink over non-oil, which just gave me disastrous effects, why don't I just use the black paint? This is the black paint, and I thought, why am I using shader when the black paint gives me really good effects as well? Well, actually, I think that the black ink is probably going to be better for larger projects like the Trygon, like the Carnifex, etc. But if I'm going into smaller things like little Termagants or little Hormigons, the little Gribblies, then I'll probably just use a brush with black paint. I can't see a reason why I'd want to use something as exotic, frankly, as ink shader on smaller creatures like that. So yeah, I think that's going to be my formula. Formula. Yeah, whatever. Tea, chin chin. Who says that nowadays? Okay, cool. Like 5 minutes in, and I'm already saying ridiculous things. Okay, so I've got my brush here. I'm going to use my Kolinsky number 2. It's the only Kolinsky I have. I've got my greys that I'm going to be using here. I've got Eshin Grey, which is my darkest. I've got Dawnstone, which is my mid, and then I've got Administratum, which is my lightest. These are all from the Citadel range, and I'm going to go straight to the darkest one, which is Eshin. I'm going to give it a real good waz on the Wazomatic. That's right, the Wazomatic. What are you going to do? Stop me. I feel much calmer this week, and I feel that's because I haven't had to rush in from work today. I can definitely tell the tempo, the pace myself here. I'm much calmer, and I hope that translates into the model today. I get a little bit down sometimes when I walk away from a show and I go like, all I've done is just this one panel. I know there's a lot more in there. I mean, obviously I've put a lot more black in there as well. I do a lot more talking, and I'm experimenting a lot. I'm hoping today to kind of get a lot out of the painting. I'm hoping that I can get quite a bit down. So I'm just going to use a crappy old brush just to scoop some of the grey out of this paint pot, and I'm just going to pop this into my palette. Again, today I'm just using a dry palette. I love using the wet palette, but the one that I have is just really, really big, and it just gets in the way. I've got a large desk, so I can have a lot of things out and about, but I'm still taking up a lot of space with that larger wet palette. So I'm considering buying another one now that I've had a lot of success with that particular wet palette, and I'm going to move to a smaller one, a more professional one. The one that I got was a really nice gift from my partner, because I was talking about them. It gave me the opportunity to experience it, to kind of play around with it, and I know that actually that's something that I really want. So yes, I will probably get a better one. I don't use a lot of space in there, so the one I've got is like A4 size, and what's happening is I'm just kind of spreading out all over the place in that palette with one colour, and there's no real need. I mean, I can just kind of keep it smaller. Okay, I have watered down this paint maybe a bit too much, so I'm just going to have a little practice, a little play, just see the opacity of it. It's a little bit on the runny side. Okay, so going to get stuck straight into here. Here I go. Let's reposition those lights a little bit. The opacity seems to be working for me there. I'm quite into that, that's good. And what I'm really trying to do here is actually neaten up the edge of the black a little bit. Add that kind of line effect into there. And just sort of blur the edges of the colours down. Where I've been quite heavy-handed with my wonderful airbrushing skills. I get like a bit of a misting of the colour, and yeah, I want to try and reduce that misting down and create an edge of colour, or transition I suppose. Probably gone a bit too heavy there. Let's just take the amount of paint out of the brush. Got some more comments going in. Chris says, also got sprayed with colour today. How about you? I didn't get sprayed with colour. This is actually the first time I've picked up a pot of paint since last week's show. Yeah, it's I'm actually on holiday, and as like a lot of holidays, you spend a lot less time doing the stuff that you actually want to do, because you're kind of catching up on life, getting through a big pile of laundry, doing work around the house, or going off and seeing people that you haven't seen for ages. Yeah, it's a little bit weird, isn't it? So I haven't actually had any time to come into the studio and do anything. Me and my partner, we see each other daily. Obviously, we live in the same house, duh. But we don't actually get to spend an awful lot of time together. So we made sure today that we sat down and played some board games and stuff. John over at Out of This World Models and Minis, you'll be pleased to know that game was Doctor Who. My partner is an avid Doctor Who fan. I grew up with Doctor Who, but I wouldn't say that I was a mental fan until I met my partner. So now it's kind of a part of our lives. So yeah, we were playing Doctor Who board game. It's great fun. We just learned how to play it today. So yeah, I haven't been sprayed with paint today, because this is the first time I've picked up any paint. That does need to be a bit thicker, that paint, so I'm just going to see if I can get a bit more out of there. Ruben Garraby has joined us on the show. Hi Ruben, I haven't spoken to you for ages, man. I hope you're doing well. Ruben is another one of our viewers from the States. Yeah, I miss you, man. I hope you're well. Back on the Tyranids, very nice. Hope you've been well. Yes, man. Yeah, I've been super happy, as you can see, in a different studio now, going up in the world. Lots of high quality cameras to kind of improve what I do and how you see it. Running off a big, better computer now, so yeah, I can have a little bit more demand on the hardware, which is great. It means I can, 1080p, man, so much better. I've got multiple cameras, multiple screens, and just a nice bigger studio, which is dedicated, and I don't have to like collapse it down every so often, which is really good, really nice. Yeah, and back to Tyranids. I haven't actually completed the Tyranid since I was in the other studio, so yeah, another reason to kind of really press on now. I hope you've been well. Obviously living over there, I don't really get to talk to you an awful lot. If anyone wants to know who Ruben is, Ruben runs Hostile Galaxy, which is one of Easy8's kind of neighbouring groups, if you like, on Facebook. Like an online magazine, information outlet. You should definitely go and check it out. There's plenty of links, etc. over at Easy8 on Facebook. I recommend you go and check it out. More comments going in. Jeff says, I tend to get paint and plaster all over me every day. Seems to be part of the job now. Yes, but you paint on such a large scale. I'd be surprised if you didn't get anything on you. Chris says, tell me about it. I had I had off last week and got nothing done. Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's one of those things, right? It's, yeah. I thought, foolishly, I've got a bit of holiday coming up. I'll get loads done. I've got several projects, you know, like I call them private projects, just stuff that I don't kind of do on the show here, but just like big 135th builds, little tank and things like that. And I'm just, just not getting anything done at all. No. Which is why the show has become so important to me. There we go. I think that's slightly more opaque. I think that's better. Ruben says it has been far too long. Happy to see you on the live video. Everything is looking great. Thanks very much, man. I really appreciate that. Cass says, finished the vehicles for Battletech scenery. Gonna get back into painting my mechs. Oh, excellent. Fantastic. Yeah, I actually saw your little Battletech vehicles in scenery the other week. When you post them up on EasyGate on Facebook. I think they're incredible. I think they're really wonderful little models. I'm sure you said to me that they were through a vendor, like a 3D printer. That they're not like official models or anything. It doesn't matter. I think they look fantastic. I personally like the little coach, the little bus. It's really difficult trying to get this brush just underneath this chimney thing here, whatever this is supposed to be. And yeah, this is why I like to leave these till later, because I'm sure I'm going to get like paint on them and around them. If I painted them now, I'll probably just end up ruining it. So I've kind of blocked this colour in, and now I'm just trying to like create some sort of brush strokes to create that false line, whatever you'd like to call it. And what's important now is that I match both sides up, because I can see here that this stage is up much higher on both the black and the lighter grey. So I'll just bring that down a little bit here. I'm not going to go crazy with it because I could like overdo it. I've always got the lighter stages of grey to go where I can sort of peel it back up a bit. And I'm also going to use a bit of black to kind of bring that down as well. And on this side here, I can just go up a little bit. Make sure I get a little bit on the edge. I'm pretty happy with that for now. I can come back and neaten up in a bit. Okay, one stage done. Clean the brush out, make sure that happens regularly. Ah, Kev says, yeah, they were 3D printed. Yeah, fabulous. If there's anywhere that you want me to shout out about on Easy 8, because that's one of the reasons why I have this show, is to kind of give give the credit due to those people that deserve it. If you buy something from a private seller, or a private business, or even one of those really big businesses that are out there in the UK, for example, Element Games, and you just like got maybe really good service from them, or you just like the product, or you just like the way that someone communicated to you on Etsy or something like that, let me know, because I'm so inclined to give them a shout out, because this show is about the community, and it's about kind of strengthening those bonds between people, letting you know who's out there, so that you can kind of go and explore them. And sometimes I like to give people a call. So if it is a private seller or like a little private business, I do call them up and I have a little chat and let them know that I'm going to give them a shout out, because I don't do this as some sort of vain attempt to be, I'm not like an Instagram influencer or anything like that. I do it for the love of what I do, and it's important to kind of share that love. So if there's anyone out there that you like and you want to kind of give them a shout out, let me know. That's what we're here for. Staff's here. Staff says, I'm here. Unfortunately not painting tonight. I'm doing my scout homework here for the company. I see. Slight space mistake there. For the E company. I got you. Cheers, man. Well, I hope we bring you lots of company. Scout's homework, huh? It better be painting homework. You're in so much trouble. coming along to this show, not bringing any painting. How dare you? So underneath these chimneys, I've brought that black out a little bit. I wonder if it's an effect that I'm going to like. So I'm just going to follow it for a little bit, and if I don't like it, then I can always kind of go over it. I'm actually finding it quite difficult to get all those little line effects in there at the moment, so I'm just trying to establish that colour just by getting it down nice and opaque for now. I'll worry about the effects in a minute when I come back to the other colours, the other greys. It's looking pretty good though. I like that. It's gonna look absolutely awesome. Like I said before, I'm really trying to focus on becoming a better painter, and sometimes you just gotta take your time, right? Yeah, I want this and all the other Tyranid models I've got, and all, not just Tyranid models but just other models. I want them all to be done, of course I do, but I'm not going to get any better unless I really start focusing. Because I'm working in the grayscales here, I'm actually finding the lights are quite troublesome. Obviously I need to have the lights on to see what I'm doing, but they are causing some obscurity. I can't really see where the colour needs to be, and if I'm putting enough colour down. I am slightly colourblind, which I'm sure doesn't help, but is that going to affect this? I don't know. And yes, the irony isn't lost on me. I like to paint and I'm colourblind. I'm not that colourblind. Okay, cool. So the trouble really starts using the shading technique here, because it all starts from underneath the plate and then works back towards the highlight edge. But when you've got the top plate like this here, it's well, there's no starting plate, is there? So how do I do it? Naturally what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the highlight colours around the edges and around the cracks and splits and things. Do I put a darker colour in here like this? That is kind of what I'm going to do right now. So I'm just going to put this colour in here now, and then here as well. And then as I go, I will just highlight out from them using the other greys. I'm not going to go down as far as the black. This might be like the completely wrong thing to do, but it will be easy enough to cover over, and it's not like it's in a very difficult place to get to either. So just making sure that I get a nice smooth colour in there, just to give it a bit of depth, I suppose. And I'll do just a little bit here as well. Not something I thought an awful lot about. It was on my mind last week. So yeah, I didn't really think about how I was going to tackle it. It's just been one of those things. I know it's there. I've just kind of got this bright idea. I went in a little bit thick with that brush stroke there, so I've just put a bit of water on it just to smooth it down a little bit. I'm going to come back in with just a little bit more paint just to build up the opacity of it again. Looks really kind of unsightly, but that's okay right now. So that's those back plates done with this colour. I am Going to just go back to this first plate that I did last week, because when I put that layer of medium down over the top, I sort of ruined it a little bit, I suppose. And you can see that it's just a bit splodgy here. So just going to come back in with this grey, block that colour back in again, knock out the shoddy work that I did. That's better. Much better. Oh, I'm really into that. That's good. That's so cool. And obviously the more I do it, the better I'll get at it. Just going to bring it under the light there, out of the camera just for a second. There, wonderful. Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it. It's good. Some other comments going in there. Chris says, gives company. Ah, bless you. Lights are also bad if you work with yellow. You just can see. If I work with yellow, like yellow paint, like, is that what you're talking about? Lights are also bad if you work with yellow. Is that because like fluorescent lights? I don't really know. You get like strip lights, fluorescent lights, and incandescent lights. And I don't really understand all the different color temperatures and how they affect what you're looking at down here. Yeah, obviously yellow. It's a big deal here, isn't it? Anyway, just gonna grab a swig of tea. Yum, that's a good one. Jeff says, I've just seen it. The effect you're doing on the bug's armor is like an old split toenail. Suits him perfect. It's exactly what I was going for. I've just never called it that before because that's gross. So take yourself away and have a word with yourself, will you? Yeah, it is split toenails. Exactly the effect I was going for. Yeah. I did a win. Fantastic. So, moving on to the next colour then. Dawnstone. Get my crappy brush. I'm just going to scoop a big pile of it out. And this is my mid-tone colour. The base colour, if you will. Just a little bit of water. Just going to smooth that down a little bit. Excellent. I'm back in with the Kolinsky number 2. I am probably going to buy myself a Kolinsky number 1 and maybe a Kolinsky number 0 because I like them. I don't know if I need a number 0 though. Bit by bit, but like I've been talking about on the last few episodes, before I do any of that, I am going to get myself some Artist Opus dry brushes. You should definitely go and check them out. Look at the videos for how to use them on YouTube through Artist Opus. They are absolutely next level brushes. The effects that you can get with them with a little bit of patience is just phenomenal, and you'll see absolutely why I'm going to be getting into using those. I'm not going to be using them for any of my Tyranid stuff. I like the way that I do the things on here now, but I'm going to be using them on things like my Adeptus Mechanicus. Darren has joined us. Evening all. Hi Darren, haven't seen you for ages. It's like a big reunion today. So many people coming in to say hi and faces we haven't seen for ages. I hope you're doing well, buddy. So with this colour now, I'm just going to block in from underneath that dark grey. This colour is kind of already blocked in, so this is more neatening up the edges of that last colour and really putting in those lines. Just neatening up all the area around the bits that I've already done. Some of that black overspray. I know I'm going to be coming in with a highlight in a minute, but just being thorough. That's cool. Yeah, this is going well. Liking it. Oh, that bit is really difficult around those chimneys. Oh, I went in a bit heavy there, didn't I? Let's just blend that out a little bit. Make sure that I'm actually still in shot. Ruben says, I can't unsee the old split toenail now. That's awesome. Well, I'm really glad that it's been recognised as that kind of effect. I don't know why I've not really ever mentioned it that way before, but yeah. Like it's just like a split carapace. You see some artists painting giants and ogres and things, and they got like their toenails and their fingernails that have all been kind of split, and it's exactly the kind of appearance that I was hoping for. I have seen similar on Tyranids before. They're much more defined than my lines. I wanted to deliberately keep them quite fine and detailed, because on practicing on my zone throats, when they were big and chunky, they looked very comic-y, very comic booky, cartoonish, and because of the colours that I've chosen and the whole appearance of the bugs themselves, it kind of lent a little too much to the which kind of it enhanced that kind of appearance, and I didn't want them to be too cartoonish, basically. So yeah, I tried to keep it as fine as possible, and then actually used just the highlights to kind of really accentuate the appearance, I suppose. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So what I'll do in a minute, I put the black in around this little area here, because there's a little split there, and in a minute, just like you can see here, so I'll bring it out with a highlight. Running out of paint there. Let's get a bit more on the old brush. Oh, that takes a bit of concentration. It does depend on what side of the carapace I'm doing, to how I hold it, how I bring the brush in, what angle I bring the brush in. It all makes quite a bit of difference. Oh, I'm going quite fast there. Oh, that's quite a good effect. Oh my gosh. I'm doing better going fast. This is like two things together that I want. Why is this happening? And is it repeatable? Well, I'll be. Well, cool. Right, down to the last plate now. And then I'll go back up to the top and see. I'm just going to kind of wing it really and just see how I can blend these kind of dips in, dents, what do you want to call them? Recesses, convex bits, bits that go in, I don't know. Okay, down to the last plate here. I'm finding it very difficult to get comfy in the chair today. That's not helping anything, is it? Okay, just around the corner here. That's that bit where I've extended it out a little bit. Not sure if I really like that very much. I'll cut it back up again. Bristles on my brush seem to be kind of globbing the paint at the end, and it's not making for a very smooth thin line, which it should do. Maybe I haven't got enough paint in the bristles. I'll add a touch of water, see if it helps thin the paint down and get, so I can carry a bit more in the belly of the brush there. Jeff says I don't like the GW colour ideas they use on the bugs. A bit too pretty, even childlike bugs. Bugs are monsters and should look monster-like. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I've always said that the way that I think GW paint their miniatures is almost like a box art thing. They have to kind of paint them up with a scheme. They have to kind of show them off with good painting skills. But I think the way that they paint them kind of shows off all the details individually, rather than making it look like, like like a photo or something like that. It's all about identifying each individual piece and go like, here's a spike, here's a piece of face, here's whatever. Because I have seen the team who paint them, or the box art images, I've seen them paint their own personal projects, and it's entirely different. I could be talking complete rubbish, of course, that is just a theory. But they're having to like display the whole model by kind of showing off different elements of it. Struggling to get that fine point today. Not to matter, enjoying the process anyway. Getting some good effects from it. Again, adding a little bit more water to the paint. I think it's a paint consistency issue that I'm experiencing here. Do bugs fight bugs in the game? Yes. I mean, anyone can fight anyone as far as a game is concerned. But sometimes, yeah, bug colonies will fight bug colonies. It's all about biomass at the end of it. Okay, that's going really well. So that's my mid-tone grade done on those ones. Now I've got to try and do something at the top up here. I'm just going to wash my brush out. I'm actually going to use a bit of brush cleaner on it because I'm a bit concerned that I'm not getting the effects that I want so easily. So just using a bit of Green Stuff World's brush cleaner. Just put a little blob on there, just something to work into the bristles and give them a bit of conditioning. Nothing seems to be coming out in terms of colour or pigment, so that's good. I've been using a clean brush, but there could be, you know, any reason why I'm not getting decent effects today. There, as quick as that. Right, back to it. So, something on the top. Let's see how this is going to go. I'm still thinking about linear lines. So, linear lines, that sounds daft, doesn't it? But, you know, lines that run in line with the carapace. So I'm probably going to try and blend it in this way, and then try and just soften out the edges as I go. Let's see what happens, right? Okay. Try and not get my thumbs into anything that I've already done. The easiest place for me to start, I suppose, is here. If I hold it like this, that feels a little bit better to hold. So, I'll work my way in from here. Just going to do what feels right or feels comfortable, working my way in from the edges like this. Nope, I'm going to need more paint in there. I think that's a lot of my problem here. Right. Wash the brush out. Start again. I've added quite a bit of water to that paint. Hopefully I can pick up quite a lot of colour now. Again, might be too thin. Okay. I don't think it's too far from what I'm trying to get, but the problem is I don't really know what it is that I'm trying to get at this stage. Maybe I do want to just cover this whole colour over and just use highlights up here. What do you think? Any ideas? Ruben says, gotta get back to work, but I enjoyed watching today. Good to see you. Take care and keep up the great work on the bugs. Ruben, it's been absolutely lovely to see you again. So take care, man. I hope you're well. Don't get too distracted while you're at work, will you? Yeah, and keep in touch on the Facebook page if you're not around on the show. So we'd love to see what it is that you've been up to lately and painting wise. So put some photos up there on Facebook. That'd be great. See you soon. Cheers now. Yeah, I don't really know what it is that I'm trying to do. I quite like it. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do highlights. Might be the easiest thing to do. What do you think? I'm open to some suggestions here. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to paint it out, and I'm just going to see what it's like with the highlights in there. So rather than having these dark patches in there, I'm just going to go back to, you know, highlighting from the edges. Told you it was easy enough to cover over. Yeah. Oh man, just look at it. It's looking super cool, right? Super cool. Which of those highlights going on those bottom plates? It's going to look amazing. Loving it. Okay. Just get rid of that last little bit of dark grey there. Getting into places where you can't quite see on the camera. Trust me, it's all there. Okay, there we go. Let's go in with a little bit of highlight. Jeff says that's a hell of a lot of work to put into a big bullet magnet. Yeah, the trick is that you don't die. And they have been like super buffed since the new codex was penned. So they are much harder to take down. Got some cool rules in there as well. But you know, sometimes things die. You either focus on that or you focus on the horde of little things. Something's gonna kill you. Going in with the highlight colour now. A bit of Administratum Grey. This is a really good colour to really show off all those highlights, all those edges. Just add a bit of water to that mix. Just a touch more. There we go. Make sure I've got a decent amount of opacity, and I'm going to start on this one here. I'm just going to start by bringing the edges out. A bit too much paint there. Probably a bit too watery for the moment as well. Okay, here we go. So if I just start here. That's all it is at the moment. It's just that simple little line down there, and then I just go around the outsides of those little nicks. And once I've done that, what I do now is I just draw a line out from the point of that little triangle. So it's easy actually to follow the direction that you want to go, so you don't get like a blob in the wrong direction. So for here, I'm just going to basically draw like that, and the idea is to try and keep that line narrow towards the higher end, so the way it's splitting towards, and then you can enhance that by basically building up the triangle from the base. So from the edge of the carapace down here, I'm now, again, a bit too much paint on the brush, I'm going to bring that line in from here, maybe a bit too much there. I'm really struggling to get those fine lines in today. So for this bit I might actually move over to a smaller brush. And then around that I will do lots more feathered in lines. Just going to move to a different brush a minute. Having some problems here today with my fine lining. Where's my little one? Here it is. Not a particularly expensive brush, but it is a sable brush. And it is really, really narrow, so it's going to help me really pick out those little lines. Let's move this one. Here we go. Like that, and now I can start just feathering a little bit more now. Actually, with this brush, because it's not the best quality brush, it's really hard to get those little feathered in bits. So for the lining I might use this one, and then for the feathery bits I'll go back to my Kolinsky brush. But it is time to take a quick break like we always do at this part of the show. So I'm just going to take 10 minutes while we kind of go stretch our legs, go refocus our eyes, whatever it is you need to do. I'm going to go get myself a stronger drink because it's all going rather well today. And I think I deserve something slightly stronger. Before we go though, Jeff says, I think if I was to use bugs, I would just have a massive wave of rippers, and you absolutely can do that. But for every base that you have, there are multiple little tiny bugs on each one. So if you want to do this on 1,000,000 bugs, go for it. But I have used lots of rippers before, and it is really good fun. Anyway, like I say, going to take a few minutes. Whatever it is that you're up to, you should definitely go and change your paint water. Just do it, man. Just do it. See you in a minute. And I'm back. Hopefully you are too. After all the hassle I give you about going and changing your paint water, I didn't. I just went and made myself a fresh drink. Cheers. And just cracked back on with doing the highlights there. Which I'm just going to finish off this little plate here. I'm getting a little bit bored of just doing the same old grey. So once I finish doing this little piece here, I'm going to move over doing some claws, I think. Or if I manage to start getting some faster, better results, I will finish off the other plate as well. It's nice to kind of do as much as you can in one go. Anyway, hope you had a good break. Let us know if you are working on something this evening. Don't forget that you can follow us on Facebook, you can follow us on here on YouTube, Instagram, and on Discord at the end of the show if you want to come along and kind of join in a little bit of the chit chat with everybody at the Easygate After 8 party on Discord. Links to all of our platforms are just below down there. Also, just below are lots of links to various people and businesses, and services and other channels that that I really like. So I've shared some links with you there. If you haven't checked those out before, you should definitely go check them out. I've got a fizzy drink and it's making me burp. So let's take you back over to the workbench, and hopefully the camera's still working. It's still working. Live feed? It's a live feed. Oh, things are working out today. So I've gone back to using the Kolinsky brush. The little brush just wasn't holding enough colour. I'm just, I suppose, trying to slow down a little bit. Try to really pick those lines out, but the paint isn't transferring from the brush very easily, and I think that might just be a water issue. So just bit by bit, what I've been doing throughout the break is just adding a bit more water fractionally until a blend occurs that I actually get some paint transferring. Don't know why I'm struggling with it so much today over previous attempts. One of those things. You can see that I'm actually having quite trouble here getting a smooth colour to, or effect rather, than what I was getting last week. Trying to make that crack stand out a little bit more than the rest of the highlighted area. So even though it's not like a big split in terms of what exists already on here, I want to really kind of identify it a little bit. That's looking better, isn't it? Some of the lines look a little bit squared, the gaps between them, and that's what I'm trying to eliminate here. I don't want it to look like it's just a line that I've gone across. I'm trying to make it, just trying to feather it in basically. But I'm also trying to make the bottom edge, the last sort of 2-3 millimeters, trying to make it quite opaque, because it should be. Stafford says, "Oh, look at you with all that tech. That works." Are you talking about the cameras actually working, or are you talking about the effects that I'm achieving over here? Either way, thanks, mate. Kes says, "I'm sorting out my mechs for colour schemes." What sort of colours have you got going on the mechs? Do tell. Okay, that's that little bit done there, and now I'm just gonna come along this edge here. Now, on the sides on the previous one, I went right up and around. And I believe if If I made a mistake, I just came and neatened it up a bit later on. That I think looks particularly good. Cool. So these cracks or splits down here are much bigger than the other ones that I've been looking at so far here, for example. Actually having more success starting from the other way with these lines. But what I want to do is I want to kind of copy that line through the highlights. So later on I will go back in with some of the mid greys and I kind of bring that line right back up to make it look like the carapace splits all the way through. As I was painting there, the bristles on my brush started separating a little bit, and it was kind of giving me extra lines, so I was just making the most of that, and it took a lot of concentration, which is why I went very, very quiet there. I'm going to take this line, even though it's a highlight, all the way up, so it's a line that I can now go over with the other colours where necessary. That looks kind of cool, right? Ruin that a little bit. Let's see if I can just go and take that out with a little bit of water. Kirsten says, House Steiner Royal Guards, House Davian Royal Guards. I can't remember what colour schemes they are. Those are the two prominent figures, aren't they, in Battletech? I can't remember what colour. There's one red and one blue. Okay, last little bit of paint in the palette. Now a line all the way around the outside of that plate. There we go. Now I can follow it up. Yep, today for some reason I'm having more luck doing the feathering technique, working in the direction that feels like I should be or that I am doing it in the wrong direction. Every day's a different day. Just trying to get the last little bit of paint out of the palette there. I probably should just go in with a bit more paint. Probably causing myself more problems, but you know me, I can't stop. Yeah, I'm going to need some more paint on there. However, that effect is really coming on really well. I'm hoping that my lights aren't bleaching it out too much. Kez goes on to say that Davin is red, blue and white, and the Steiner is yellow and blue. I was kind of right, wasn't I? If you can see, this is the carapace plate that I did last week, and I added a small blend of medium and grey over the top of it to kind of really sort of blend that highlight colour in. I did it all over apart from on the black, but actually what I like is I like it just over these last two greys, maybe a little bit in the darker grey and the mid grey as well. It just stops it from popping a little bit, and there is a difference. I don't know if it picks up on the camera, but actually this pops out a little bit more. This is just a little bit softer, and I think it's better. So it definitely tells me that I should be using that filter, if you like. I'm going to go back in with a little bit more Administratum Grey. I know I said I was going to go do some claws. I do want to do some claws tonight because I enjoy doing them. It's fun. It breaks up the monotony of grey, but I'm on a bit of a roll, and I think I should get these done while I'm working on it. So when I'm putting the black on, airbrush or normal brush, like I said earlier, I think if I'm doing a bigger build, if I'm doing a bigger monster, then I think I should use the airbrush with the ink spray. And I think that if I'm doing the smaller ones, you know, anything from sort of warriors down, really, then I probably want to be using black paint, probably by brush, because even warriors are quite small. Yeah, and I think it's... just try and get my phone to work there. I think it's just going to be easier and quicker to get that black on smaller models with a brush. It's all about saving time and being efficient, especially with a horde army. I think I've got my new bit of grey here. It's quite watered down. Let's see how well this goes. Much better. So it has been a consistency issue this evening. Right, brilliant, that's all I need to know. So this triangle here around this split, let's get a bit more grey around it, really bring those edges out, close it off, and then from here I'm going to draw a line. Absolutely has been a consistency issue. That is going on so much better. Okay, it looks a bit untidy at the moment, and now what I can do is I can kind of just bring that line in a bit more. It's probably quite a bit wider than what I was going for. I'm quite unsteady today. But if I bring the base up here, it stops it looking so bad. I can always bring that back in again with a little bit more mid-grey, and then just sort of widen the neck of that colour, and that's much better. Get some more opacity in at the bottom there. If I have any blunt lines that kind of end abruptly, or my brush decided to give it a bit of a glob, I can just kind of line it back in, if that makes sense. I can just like I did there, so I can just draw a line out a little bit. Like that. There we go. Okay, so I've learned that if I'm struggling with this particular shade, this particular highlight grey, and I'm struggling with the feathering technique, is it actually should be quite thin, thinner than it looks like it should be. Already I'm speeding up massively. I don't know why I'm going over old ones there, going over last week's. Kind of lost my place, I was just getting a bit carried away. Oh, that took some concentration getting in around there. And now just that last little bit on this side here. I'm actually just going in very, very small around the chimney. Like I'm just trying to like conclude the scheme more than anything, because I don't really know how to kind of make this effect work around those chimney bits, so I'm just keeping it nice and small around there, just making sure that I'm actually in shot. Oh, loads of comments going in. Staff says, and I'm painting. Sherman Staff, Jeff, did you want a Flames of War rulebook? And yes, Sherman's. Jeff says no. Anyway. Because apparently Staff has 2 now, and I'm with Jeff asking why. Why is that the case? I don't play Flames of War. I do play Tanks. It's just literally called Tanks, and as far as I'm aware, it is by the same company that do Flames of War, but it is just using the armor, so just tanks from the game. Flames of War. So it is a good game. It's very technical. I would play it if it was like one of the very few games that I played, but as we know that I play quite a few games, it gets difficult to store it all and the scenery and everything that required for it. So I just don't get too involved in too many games. It's just too much of a hobby to do all of them at the same time, and you know, I work a very busy life. I have very many hobbies outside of like painting. I'm into outdoor pursuits, you know, and then I've got friends and family and stuff to see at the same time. It gets very difficult to kind of keep track of it all. So the reason I play water tanker is because it's 15mm. The tanks, as I've said before, are small and easy to paint. Less is more, and when it comes to all the terrain, it's just easier to store it all like in a box or two. Easy, job done. Oh, that's a strong drink I've made. Okay. Apparently, Staff just got an extra box set to get the tanks. I'm sure you could sell it. Do feel free to sell your wares on the Facebook page. So if you wanted to kind of put a little advert up to anyone that kind of goes on EC8 Facebook, go for it. Whatever. If that's something that takes off in the future and is a real problem, we'll deal with it then. But for now, do it. Okay. So just gonna redefine the opacity at the bottom there. It looks a little bit transparent. Neaten up those edges a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going onto the bottom plate down there. And suffice to say, once I've got these colours in place, I'm going to go over it with a layer of varnish, just so that I don't take it off with my fingers, because holding this beast is difficult, and as I go on to paint the rest of it, it's going to come off of my hands, and I really don't want to have to keep doing that. It's going to get annoying very quickly. And very time consuming. A gnarly edge of plastic down here. And the splits in the carapace down here don't have any black in them, because they would have been very easy to overspray and get it on the layer underneath. So I'll just have to go in by hand once I've kind of done this. I'll get this effect sort of in place, do a little line of black, and any neatening up I can go back in with a highlight colour at the end. Super simple. And of course, one of the things I've got to consider, that I got chatting briefly to John over at Out of This World Models and Minis, who was speaking to us just at the beginning of the show, was asking me like how I plan to base, how I plan to base this one. And like a lot of the Tyranids, though they have large bases, they occupy a large, a large space of the base. So it's kind of difficult to really get stuck into anything meaty. One of the obvious things to want to do with a tunneling creature is to do some sort of tunnel feature. I don't really know how to do that yet. So if I do a future Trygon or Morlock, other worm-like creatures, then I will probably explore that possibility. I just don't know how to really go about that. So I thought that perhaps I'll do like a pillar or a statue or some kind of large terrain feature that is kind of being knocked off, so it's kind of leans over a little bit, like a pillar or something, that would then be being consumed by Tyranid plant life. So basically like a giant creeper or bramble pulling it over. I could do more acid pooling, but that's a feature that is quite heavy on some of my other models, and I don't want to like have an acid base on every single one. It will get a little bit much after a while. And I want to explore the Tyranid flora as much as I can. Well, that's a line that went well. Nice work. It's looking really, really good. And like I always say, I don't really know how well this really stands out on the camera on the night. I do go back and review the videos, and then I always go, oh yeah, no, it stands out really well. But as the show's going on, it's very difficult to see how well it's actually going. And the monitor that I watch everything over here is terrible. So it's very difficult to see how effective it is actually on the screen. As always, I will take some photos and put them straight onto Facebook at the end of the show. It's nice to do that, to kind of show you a little bit in still imagery, but just in case it's not showing up very well, you get a chance to see it. Again, just having a little check over there, just make sure that I'm always in shot. I would say that if I'm never in shot, just give me a shout, but of course I have to look to see if you're shouting, so kind of a pointless thing to say. Going back to the old days when Kyle used to be a co-host with me, he could he would be watching and be like, Danny, you're not a shot, you're not a shot. Cheers, Kyle. Kyle, if you're ever watching this back, man, I hope you're well. Haven't heard from Kyle for a long time. Very, very busy becoming a teacher and, you know, living his career life. I know that he and his partner are being both very successful in their careers, and sometimes you have to give over a little bit, and if that takes away your hobby time, as sad as that sounds, especially if you're really enjoying your career, you got to go and you got to go do it, haven't you? You got to make that break. Right, I'm just going to clean the brush out just this last little bit now because it is starting to become quite cloggy. Again, the paint's not flowing very well, despite the consistency of it being nigh perfect. There we go. Such a good effect. I'm so happy with it. I've done about 5 strokes now and nothing's come off. I'm being so delicate because I know that on the first couple of strokes after loading the brush up it can come off quite heavy. Let's do a little practice down there. There we go. That's better. That looks absolutely amazing, if I do say so myself. I am now just going to run a little bit of highlight just across the first piece of that center ridge line, just to bring that out on all accounts. I'd take it right out to the dark edge, the dark grey. And I did it on that one there, and it actually looks pretty good. I might even after I've done like a little medium filter over the top, is as a final highlight, just run that down there like that. Maybe all the way around the edge. That's something for me to explore a little bit later on. It's almost like a final highlight. I like it. It's a little bit messy in some places, but that's because I was struggling with the consistency. So when I've got a little bit left here in the palette, I'm just going to just quickly revisit that. Now that I can see it, it's mostly around there. That side not so bad. This one here is not the best. And I need to update that plate there as well to kind of go along with how I've decided to approach that. It's almost like every time I come to it, I do something slightly different every time. And it looks wicked. But it's just like I've come in with a better idea, or it's just worked better this time, you know? Much better. Okay. Obviously, I've still got to do the top plate. That's something that I can do this evening whilst I'm on Discord with you guys later on. And that's just going to be doing a series of really high highlights. I think just kind of really bringing them in and almost ignoring the black and the dark grey. And seeing how that goes, I think. And then if I feel like I need to do darker grey, I would, I suppose, paint that whole plate dark grey and then just go in like with using the middle grey, highlighting all the way in, and then using the highlight grey to kind of go in halfway, if that makes sense. I think that's probably the best way to achieve that. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. It's obviously going to give me the biggest problems. What I'm going to do now, in the last sort of quarter of an hour of this show, is I'm going to go on and just do some bone colour on the claws, because a couple of weeks ago I decided that the claws on all my Tyranids should be bone to break it up a little bit, but also trying to get the right effect with the grey on claws has proven to be a little bit difficult in the past. So yeah, basically I'm going to go in with a bit of bone white from Vallejo Air. That's not the colour I normally use. I normally is it here somewhere? Here it is, Screaming Skull. But I want to use this because it flows better, and it'll be like a little bit of a primer over that grey, which will show up quite strongly through the Screaming Skull. So I'm undercoating. Right, that's actually a bit of a blocked tube there on that dropper bottle, and if anything to learn from tonight is Kez spraying paint all over herself, so I'm not going to do the same. I'm going to take it nice and easy with that dropper bottle. Okay. And then, yeah, one of the things I'll be doing this evening is probably just varnishing all that stuff that I've done already. Right. Focus those eyes. Here we go. Now, I'm not going to do those armoured bits on top of the claws. It's just the actual claw bit, the talon itself. It's like the talon is armoured, and I like the fact that I can be bringing the two different schemes together. Not so worried if I do get it all over that grey in there. I'm just trying to be as neat as I can, just to save time in the future. I don't have to be neatening up everything that I do, but it's not the end of the world. I think there's a little bit of dust just sat on the end of that bit of paint there. Now when I come to do the bone colours all finished on this claw, for example, I come to do the grey effect that I've been working on already on here. The edge of this plate will be highlighted, but the bottom part of the claw will have that brown effect that you can see down here. So they should bounce off each other quite well. I can see the image in my head, and it looks really good. But of course, an artist's challenge is to make what they see in their head come out on whatever canvas it is they're painting. So we'll see if it works. Okay, well that's one claw primed. Should these mandible claws be like teeth? I think they should be. But then I've got all these other little claws all the way down it. I think I'm going to keep those grey. Or should I? Should I make those little claws? Should I make all these little claws, you know, bone colour? I don't know. I'll let you guys decide. Tell me what you think. Is it all claws should be bone colour and armour should be grey? Oh, it's so difficult to try to get in and underneath all of these parts. I can see that Jeff says claws as bone. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I say the only reason I did them grey in the past is because I was inspired by a drawing of a Tyranid, like a cute Tyranid. It's a brilliant picture, and I remember looking at it going like that would make an excellent colour scheme. But all of the spikes, all of the armour was all grey, because it was a little picture, a little digital painting, and it worked. But obviously I'm getting into quite exotic types of creatures now, and yeah, things change, right? And I think you can see that it's going to look quite cool. It's really breaking up the whole ensemble. Kez says I agree. We are coming to the end of tonight's show. So if there's anything you wanted to do or say as a part of the show, as always, get it into the live chat now, or immortalize it in the comment section for all eternity, for as long as the internet shall exist. I'm actually having to hold the paintbrush right by the end here to get right up inside there. I can see that Jeff says it's a nice effect, so you have a nice effect you have, so use it. Okay, oh, thanks. I see there's more of a compliment than just a comment. Thanks very much. Yeah, you're right, it is. Sometimes when I do it, it comes out way better than others. I think it's come out really well on the claw here on the tail. I compare it to how it came out on here on the Carnifex. Though it still looks very good on those claws, I think it's better on the tail here. Just throw it, Danny, just throw it. Easy 8 throw your models club. if anything, when it comes to doing the little spikes down the sides of the tail here, it's going to be easier to paint them in the bone colour, because that little bit of muscle, which is just highlighted here as a little bit of yellow between them, that's also going to be bone colour to start with as a base, and then I use a crimson shade to go over the top of it to make it look like the muscle sinews that you see here, for example. This was a bone colour, and then there was a crimson shade put over it. So actually trying to get that in there and not having to worry about so much about the grey colour around it, I think will actually probably just be so much easier, so much quicker. So it's probably a good shout all around. Chris jumped in saying frogs have teeth. There you go, that is all I wanted to say. Thanks, Chris. Are you alright, mate? That's what happens when you spend so long on Google. Frogs have teeth. Imagine if they had massive gnashes. Or even smiles. What kind of frogs have you got? Really nasty, vicious ones. Look at the colours on that already. I think that's really starting to break it up. It's starting to make it... Actually, those claws... It brings a lot of attention to the claws. Like, they're a dangerous thing. Look at this, you know. As far as a model or a war games piece goes, it's kind of bringing your attention to the danger side. The business end. If this thing, you know, the size of a tower block came bursting out the ground underneath you and you were stood there looking at it, I wonder what part of it you would focus on first, going, oh my god, look at the size of that mouth, or look at those teeth, look at those claws. What part do you think would go through your head? Obviously right before you bite the dust. Wonder what would, yeah. For me, it will probably be, oh, look at those claws. Geese also have teeth. Yes, they do. And I know people who've been bitten by them. And it is absolutely horrific. They also have barbed beaks. So once they bite you and they clamp down with that incredible bite force that geese have, it's horrific. They just don't let it go. So there you go, children. If you're going to go feed the geese, stay at a safe distance. Just a few more brush strokes to go, really. Lovely. And then there's one big claw down here. Jeff says, yeah, been on the wrong side of some geese. Yeah, man. Yeah, they make amazing eggs though. While I'm a vegetarian and I appreciate all life, I will eat the eggs. Chris says, facts with Chris. Love it. Easy 8 Painting Club and Facts Club. Just trying to get right. This is like the hardest claw in the world. Might end up getting a little bit on the grey that exists there, but that's okay. Just try and make sure that I stay in shot as well. It's always a challenge. Got some on the claw. They're going to go the same colour, but I just don't want it to become a big blob that you would see eventually. Cool. Well, there we go. So I've got all that carapace done this evening, which I think looks absolutely stellar. I think it looks awesome. And I've got all these claws all kind of sort of undercoated, primed, if you like, blocked in. Gonna go over with some Screaming Skull. It is ever so slightly different shade as well. So it will change, but that little bit of bone white I put down there will really help establish a decent coat, and the grey won't show through so much. I've found in the past that has helped. There we go. Gonna do all the spikes exactly the same. And then I'll give a quick once over with some varnish, just to kind of protect all that work that I've done already. And then obviously I'm going to attack that top plate there. I will then probably from there move on to doing all the carapaces on the claws and get all that bone work done. And then that's kind of the arms all done. And then yeah, I've got a couple of little plates in here on the front, one on top of the head there obviously. And then it's that long play all the way down the tail, which is going to take quite some time. So yeah, perhaps what I'll do is I'll do a little bit, you know, of the colours of the greys that I've done, and then stop for a little bit, and then go on and do a bit more somewhere else. But it should all start coming together quite quickly, as long as I stay on top of it. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to clean my brush out quickly, and then we're going to come away, because we are at the end of the evening. There's some more facts going in. Jeff says dogs can't look up. True. I don't know how true it is. Staff says and homework club. I agree with Chris. Also, pineapple is a berry. I think I knew that. Cows can go upstairs, but they can't go down. Who worked that one out? Okay, cool. Let's come away from here. Where are we? Here we are. So yeah, been an absolutely brilliant night. I think I feel much more productive, like I've got a lot done today, as where in the past I felt like I've come away from the show having not really done an awful lot, like I said earlier on. If you've got any ideas on how this particular model should go, like how it should go with the bases or anything like that, any kind of ideas, concepts, or any just kind of the paint schemes, I'm all ears, because I'm still sort of developing the scheme as I go, and every model that I do, once I feel like I've got my design the way that I'm going to do it, there's always something new to think about with every model because it has like a different thing on it. Jeff says it never is. Yeah, it never seems to be enough. It never seems to be done. I always feel like there's more to do, but that's cool. That's why I like it. If I was to finish everything, would I be happy? Yeah, probably quite a bit happier. Yeah, still got loads of spikes to do, other bits and pieces on there, but it will start coming together quite quickly now, I think. I've still got to find a colour for the tongue. One of those things. Chris says, and ants count their steps. How do we know that? Like, yeah, great fact, but how do we know that? Stop it, you're being silly. Right. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about was the possibility of making this show fortnightly rather than weekly. I haven't made any sort of decisions on that at all. I wanted to put the idea out there to you guys to kind of see how you think about it. Originally, the idea came to me because I have a lot of nights during the week where I am very, very busy. That is a lot of the time I am doing stuff with the show. I'm actually going back to school, as I've discussed in the past, where I'm going back and doing my GCSEs. So that takes up quite a bit of my time. I have at least once a week, I have friends coming over to play some games and have a bit of social life. And though that still leaves over half of a week left, it's not actually an awful lot of time to chill out, spend time with my partner, or just get other things done. And in and around on top of that, there is work as well, and I do work some late evenings. So the idea came from all of those pressures, and the show's not going to go away. My maths, the GCSEs that I'm doing is still going to continue, at least for next year as well. And I obviously still want to see my friends. So those pressures aren't going to go away. So it got me thinking, could I make the show work on a fortnightly basis? There's a part of me that says I don't want to do that because, like I say almost every week, for me at least, it's nice having this weekly dedication of hobby time. Kyle's always said it from the beginning when Kyle used to be here. It's nice to be able to say that at the end of the week, there's always going to be 2 hours where I know I'm going to be in the studio painting something. And that's how it might be. I might just go, do you know what? That's what I need. I need the show. I need my hobby, and I need to make sure that I dedicate some time to it. But actually, maybe it's nice looking forward to it every 2 weeks. I don't want to feel like I'm caving into pressures. I'm just trying to be realistic. So I'd love to know what your take is on that. If you've got any thoughts on that, then you could just leave them down there in the comment section. That it would be lovely. I respond to every comment that goes out there, and I read them all. Or you could stick it over at Facebook as well. Or you can talk to me directly if you're one of my friends, or maybe you're just one of those associates who talks to me from afar. You're all my friends. You all are. So yeah, some thoughts. Keslin says, I would like you to stay weekly, but it is your life. That sounds very deep, and I appreciate the honesty. Thank you very much. That's the sort of comment that I'm looking for. So yes, please do. Steph says, I would not get anywhere near as much stuff painted. It looks like that so far that we need to stay weekly, which is fine. That is cool. Wanted to open up to the public forum. Anyway, for now, for this week at the very least, that's all that there's going to be. And next week, I'm not going to be here. Fortnightly show test run because I'm going to my best friend's wedding, which is going to be great. It's not actually until the Saturday, but I've got people who are coming to stay with me on the Friday, and there's just no way that I can work it in like a day later or earlier. So next week we are not going to have a show. I will make sure that I am in the studio painting. I'm going to be in here all day tomorrow, so if you are around and you want to do some painting or just want to have a chat with me, I'm going to be on Discord for the majority of that day, so do come and find me tomorrow. I'll make sure that any other spare time I've got, I will be here in the studio painting and getting things done, and I'll be making live videos on Facebook. I'll try and get some stuff put up on Instagram because it's been like a million years since I've been on there, so just trying to fill that time to make up for the absence for next week. So until the next time that I see you, next time I run a show, make sure that you keep on painting, make sure that you stay safe, and yet that you be kind. Until then, see you soon. Take care for now. Bye bye. Right, time to get on and paint some claws. So many claws. Have I made this choice?